I mean, the way she looks at Simba in Can You Feel the Love Tonight, that's an adult look.
And it's basically a little cub saying, do you want to fight me? Like, I'll fight you for my brother.
Those people are interesting. Nala was their first crush.
I mean, the way she looks at Simba in Can You Feel the Love Tonight, that's an adult look.
Mine was Brandy.
And mine was Ashanti.
I mean, you're MTV, so I'll step into this. I just remember watching The Real World, and I just thought Pam from The Real World was just like larger than life. You know, like, who was this young med student with like the red hair? She's so generous and knowing. Real World San Francisco.
Yeah, and she married Judd.
And she married Judd.
They're still married.
And they're still married.
Yeah.
I just thought she was like otherworldly.
I love it.
And I haven't thought of that. We actually rewatched The Real World, San Francisco, myself and Lulu, over the pandemic.
Well, once you widen the aperture to MTV, then it's very easy to name crushes.
She's set from anywhere.
Yeah,
you know?
fair
and
enough.
She's from MTV.
Daisy Fuentes. Forget it. Daisy Fuentes, then, now, forever.
Why you looked at me so fast? I try to stay out of people's business. I like to hear about what's going on. I don't like to comment too much. You know, that's their dynamic and they're navigating, and I wouldn't want people meddling in mine. And if I do offer some advice, y'all must be struggling and it probably shouldn't be happening in any way.
I share that sentiment. I'm very much somebody who, you know, I just mind my business.
Yeah.
But should you come to me, I'll definitely be someone that will listen. But I tend to let
not
people
respond.
navigate things in the way they need to,
I think my fun fact about Barry is that he's incredibly musical and a really fine musician in his own right. So that was like sort of a secret weapon. Even though he hadn't worked on a quote-unquote musical, he had all the tools he needed to make this thing.
Kelvin loves jazz.
Is that fun?
I think it is because I love jazz as well. He loves jazz, and I remember he and I were in New York together. With some friends,
did do that. That was
and we went to, where did we go? I can't remember the name of the establishment in New York.
It wasn't good. We don't even need to shout them out.
But
There were better
Kelvin was
jazz
sitting there
spots.
like he was just observing every detail of what was happening, and that's when I knew how much of a love for jazz he had.
In Moonlight, this kid, Jarrell Jerome, who's like a really like major actor now.
Amazing actor.
I didn't realize it, but he told me and we cast him fresh out of high school. But he told me that Lin was a big inspiration to him because I believe he was performing maybe The Heights.
Like, yeah, he was in The Heights. He was Usnavi in
Exactly.
The Heights at LaGuardia.
And he said he performed for you and it changed his life. Like, your generosity made him feel like he could actually continue and do this. And thank God, because I don't think Moonlight would have worked without him.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I thought learning of that encounter was a really lovely thing.
Aaron, I feel like is this I mean, I guess some people don't know this about you in jiu-jitsu and boxing.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Hakuna Matata. No, I just can't wait to be king, I would say.
Yeah.
Now be prepared. No. Yeah, be prepared, man. Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yeah, I think for me, it's probably, if I have to choose a song, it's probably Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I mean, I grew up in an era of the romantic Disney ballad, and there hasn't been as much of that recently. Moana had no time for romance, and the Mirabelle Madrigal and her family were unpacking generational trauma. So I love the old school ballads, like the romantic Disney ballads.
Be prepared. That's yours, right?
Be prepared. And also, I mean, I don't know if this is considered a song in the same context because it doesn't have lyrics, but the moment where I think it's wildebeest, where they're coming down and they're stampeding, and it's just like this amazing, like,
Score.
It's so beautiful.
Hans Zimmer.
I've listened to that just on its own before in my car. I think it's really amazing.
Honestly, it was so clear what the songs needed to be, from the great script by Jeff Nathanson, the opportunity to learn from Barry. But really, every song you're trying to write, you're starting from scratch. Like, having written "You're welcome" does not help you when you're writing for Mufasa. You're always just trying to be honest to the moment. I always say every writer has, like, the two tools they use the most are research and empathy. You know, you're doing everything you can to understand where your character is at and trying to musicalize the truth of them in that specific moment. And so there's a lot of research to get there, and then, like, empathy once you're there. And in terms of the research, my secret weapon is Lebo M and Mark Mancina, two guys who worked on the original film. They worked on the Broadway musical. They know what The Lion King sounds like. They essentially invented that sound through their arrangements. So I knew having them in my corner would elevate whatever I wrote into the Lion King universe.
I think what's really cool is that they didn't start out as enemies, you know, or they didn't start out with any friction. They actually started out with an abundance of love for each other, tremendously playful. One of my favorite parts of the Always Wanted a Brother song is when young Tucker overhears somebody saying that Mufasa is a stray and that nobody wants him around. And then young Tucker is like, "That's not a stray, that's my brother." And it's basically a little cub saying, "Do you want to fight me? Like, I'll fight you for my brother." And I think that's really sweet. So I think just the fact that they were, before we meet them in the 1994 original, they were like this, you know, and just circumstances led them down a different route.
For me, it's like pretty simple, man. I love creating things with people I love and things I care about, you know, and this film is no different in that regard than any of the other films I've made, because I've made it with, you know, the cinematographer, the editor, the producer, all these people I've known for 25 years since meeting them in film school. And I think it's interesting watching the film. I feel like Malele could have become any place that Mufasa could have found community, where he could have found this connection, this almost anti-tribalism, you know, with this group of people that he did not know, but with whom he shared a common purpose, this idea of harmony within the circle of life. And I think whenever I go out and create art, you know, with either old collaborators or new collaborators, and we share that same purpose and intent, that to me feels like a Malele.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way and echo what Barry said. I went way more specific in my head, though, and was like, Puerto Rico on, like, a not too hot day, my kids are outside, and like I have, like, a very nice cold drink in my hand, and that's Malele.